Now, July is Savings Month. Do you practice a culture of saving? ENCA's Matilda Mutuatlacha took to the streets to find out.
People are in difficult times at the moment in South Africa. I think they're living hand to mouth. I would be shocked to hear that people have got money to save right now.
Yes, a bit, but not too much.
Yes, I do.
A month.
Probably about 2 months.
A couple of months to be quite tough because obviously still paying rent, still paying off student loans and all that.
Possibly between 2 and 3 months. I know that people say you should have enough money saved for 6 months, but it's a work in progress.
Put a contingency plan in place.
I'll say, like, start saving from whatever you have. Don't wait to have more money to start saving. You can save as little as you can. Yeah.
We need to teach our siblings, our kids from an earlier stage to start saving so that when they grow, I think that's what led with us. Maybe I wasn't taught much about saving. Something that on my own I figured out, no, I can't just eat all of my money.
So July is Savings Month, and this year's campaign is youth-focused. The South African Savings Institute says there's an urgent need to equip young people with saving skills. The South African Savings Institute's acting CEO, Gerald Mwandiambira, joins us now in studio. Good morning, Gerald. Good to have you with us.
Always a pleasure.
Now, let's talk about, first, just give us a quick overview of the South African Savings Institute.
South African Savings Institute is a non-profit organization which was established 19 years ago to promote savings and investment in South Africa, mainly amongst individuals, corporates and government, and we have three purposes. Advocacy, which means that we talk about savings and do symposia and academic research. Research is the other pillar, and the last pillar is consumer education. Yeah. So July is our consumer education campaign around savings.
Okay, so for an employment rate of about 52.4%, it affects South African youth so much. You're focusing on the youth this time around. You need a job to save.
Definitely, you need an income to save, but what's really is the issue around South African saving is that those who do have an income would rather spend 3/4 of it servicing debt, and that's a decision. So savings is a decision and a commitment, just like you do when you go into debt. So what we're trying to say to South Africans is that, especially in a tough economic cycle, it's more important to have something saved than just to pay off your debt, because if you lose your job, it doesn't matter how good you are at repaying your debt, you're going to be in big trouble. So we're trying to say, pay off your debt while you save. When you've cleared your debt, save even more. And most people are starting to do that because we have seen an improvement in savings.
Okay. We were talking about black tax with my guests before. That also comes into play, doesn't it, as a young black African?
I think so, yes. Black tax is a big issue. Our campaign this year is around #CrazyWaysToSave. And we also want to debunk some of these black tax issues, because on #CrazyWaysToSave on that Twitter handle, people are putting up videos about how they save in a crazy way. And you've got a lot of these black youths who are talking about how they're saving. And there are people out there who are saving, and every day we're giving away 1,000 Rand, sponsored by our partners ABSA, to show that people can save. And I think
give us one crazy way to save.
Well, we've had lots of crazy ways. Someone is growing herbs on their on their windowsill. The other person said they bath all their children at the same time. Bath with your spouse at the same time. It's more romantic. Save on electricity. I think savings culture is exactly that. It's about you waking up thinking with a savings mindset. And if you carry that through the day, it eventually leads to rands and cents, which you can then actually apply in your budget and save. It's not just about saying, let me save 10 Rand. No, it's about saying, when I wake up, the tie I bought, I had two choices. I could have bought one for 800 and I bought one for 200. And with that 600 eventually translates back into your budget and into a way which you can actually meaningfully save.
Okay, you were right to say it is a culture, and talking about the word culture itself, our parents never taught us how to save in any way whatsoever. It was go to school, bugger off, go and do your thing as well. Do you see that's changing at all?
I think it's changing, and I think we still need a lot of financial education. Money is a skill. Money is a tool. Just like a hammer, you can't just get a hammer and figure your way out. By the time you figure your way out, you've got lots of injuries. And it's the same thing with money. It's a tool which people need to be taught how it works, compound interest, and how you can, prevent some of the mistakes you make. You saw some of the interviews you had. What would you tell a 21-year-old? And this is people talking in hindsight. And we don't always have to act in hindsight or act when we've actually made the mistake.
What's South Africa's ratio of debt to disposable income? That could be
It's about 71.3%. Every month, paying 3/4 of your salary to somebody who you probably stopped enjoying the thing long time ago.
But is this necessary debt? Because you need a house, you need a car.
A lot of it is consumption. A lot of it is consumption. Of course, there's appreciating debt and necessary debt. And debt is not a bad thing. It's about, can you manage it? So in your budget spreadsheet, if you can comfortably pay off that 70% and still save 20% and live off 10%, then you're fine. It's about, can you manage the debt? So we also need to get that messaging out that on financial education, that debt is an instrument which allows you to create wealth. But if it's not managed, it will eat you alive, because it's the reverse of compound interest, where you're making money for someone else every day when someone else is sitting at home enjoying your
like
hard work.
Renting for the rest of your life.
Renting for the rest of your life. And again, also around financial education and the changes we're seeing now in that you have to own a house in your lifetime. You don't necessarily. Some people are staying at home longer. In the US, people are staying well into their 40s, 50s. And it's about us going back into the Commonwealth system of African culture, where the whole family stayed in one compound. So why don't you stay 3 houses away from each other as opposed to 3 cities or 3 countries away from each other? Because maintaining 3 households is more expensive.
You're making me feel bad. I told my kids to bugger off. After university, I don't want to see any of you. But seriously, when you look at the economy as well and savings, there's a correlation there as well, isn't there?
Definitely. Countries which save tend to do better. They rely less on foreign direct investment. China, India, very good savings nations where individuals save, and that money is recycled in the domestic economy. It creates jobs and it creates opportunities. So you can get that economic growth boost from domestic savings, because you don't rely on the rest of the world. And that's really why the Savings Institute was set up in 2001, because we were looking at that time at countries like Malaysia and the Asian Tigers and how they were doing well with domestic savings. And we said, let's try and inculcate this culture in South Africa. Unfortunately, 19 years later, we're improving. We're slowly getting there. Snail's pace, but we will get there.
All right. Snail always gets there at some point. Thank you so much. Gerald Mwandambira, Acting CEO for the South African Savings Institute. Are you saving?